Hello class, this is Dr. Nito, the Blockchain Pro, and together we're going to be installing the Go language and deploying your Hyperledger Fabric development environment. First thing is log on to your Linux machine, and let's open up a terminal by right-clicking anywhere on the desktop. First thing we want to do is we want to upgrade any of the dependencies, and we do this by issuing the sudo apt-get update command. The next command is sudo apt-get for some of the apt utilities. Next, we're going to get and download the specific Go library, in this case version 11.1. This is very specific based on the Hyperledger environment that you're trying to establish. Next, we're going to decompress the tar. And now we want to create a path for the Go installation. So we're going to open up the profile file, and we're going to utilize gedit for graphical editor. And we're going to be appending 2 lines of code. We're going to export the Go path and the path for the bin directory. Notice that later in this tutorial, we're going to come back and we will change the last line. But for now, we just need to add those 2 files, and we can just X out of the G editor. Now, in order for the system to update the path, we need to provide the following command: source.profile. And every time you open up a new terminal window, you're going to need to enter this command in order for the environment to know the locations of your paths. Next, we want to validate the version of Go. And we have Go 1.11.1. At this point, just provide a date and take a screenshot of steps of the previous steps. From here, it's assumed that you've already gone and opened up your GitHub account and you have cloned the Hyperledger hands-on/trade finance logistics repository in your Windows machine. Now that we have established the Go path, we're going to change directory into the Go path source directory. As you can see, the Go path variable records the exact location. Inside of the source directory, we're going to clone yet another repository. We're going to be utilizing the Fabric release 1.4. The original labs were utilizing version 1.1, but I came across multiple dependencies and errors that would not compile properly. So I'm updating the labs, the repository, and our development environment to release 1.4. Now that we downloaded and we cloned the Fabric 1.4 file, we want to create we're going to make a directory inside of your Go source directory. We're going to create a github.com/hyperledger. We're creating 2 folders. And next, we want to change directory into the Hyperledger folder. Notice that my prompt changed. So inside of the Hyperledger directory, we're going to clone the Hyperledger Fabric release 1.4. And similar to the previous cloning of the Trade Finance Logistics Git, which I utilized release 1.4, we're also going to utilize Fabric 1.4. Next, we're going to change directory inside of Fabric. And here we need to make some edits. Once again, we're going to utilize gedit. We're going to double check some settings. We want to make sure that the makefile that we're utilizing is pointing to the release version 1.1.3 and that the URL is utilizing the jfrog.io website. So these are correct. I can close this file. I don't need to do any modifications. And now we're ready to run the first command for make docker to build Fabric. Depending on your internet speed and the resources assigned to your VM, this may take a while. In the original labs, this was the section that had multiple challenges because of the dependencies with the libraries. It actually gave us errors regarding the tools. And it had to do with the incompatibility with the Go language. It had to do with how the path was structured. So I decided to upgrade our release to the 1.4 release rather than the 1.1. I'm going to pause the video and then restart after this command is complete. Approximately 15 to 20 minutes, you will have a successful compilation of Make Docker, 15 out of 15 steps. The next step is we want to create 3 particular binaries that are needed for your exercises. We will do that with the following make command. We want to create these 3 binaries. After these 3 files are created, we want to get and we want to clone the fabric-ca repository, and once again we want to be very specific and select release 1.4. Now we want to change directory and into the fabric-ca. Notice our paths changed, and we're ready to run the make docker command yet again for the fabric-ca environment. I'm going to pause the video. This process may take another 10 to 15 minutes. All right, 10 to 15 minutes, and we will have the fabric-ca binary compiled. Next step is just put the date and copy these screenshots for your report. We're almost there. We still have to make small minor change so that we can sync the different versions of the different libraries. For that, we're going to change directory into the following directory: GoPath, source, GitHub, Hyperledger, Fabrics, and scripts. Inside, we're going to edit a file by the name of Bootstrap. In here, we want to change the URL for both instances to the following. And you will have the information on your lab. So we want to change the URL, the binary file, both for the Fabric binaries and for the fabric-ca client binary. We're going to save the file. And we're going to run the Bootstrap shell script. I'm going to pause the video and then we'll come back after this command is complete. Alright, the next command is we're changing director and we're going into the clone repository of the trade, finance, logistics repo. At this point, remember in the beginning I mentioned that we were going to change the path in the profile. So this is it. We're modifying the profile and we are going to change the last line with this more comprehensive export line. And we're replacing this one. We're going to save, close, and remember that you have to source the profile. And every time for your future labs, every time you open up a terminal, you want to issue this command, source profile, so that the terminal will know the path for your Go and your bin and your other necessary directories. Alright, so now we're ready to call the cryptogen command and to validate full functionality. All right, outstanding. As you can see, we have the exporter, the importer, the carrier, and the regulator. At this point, type in date and grab some snapshots for the lab. Now in section 2.2.3, you can either manually copy paste or type the commands steps 1 through 9, or you can utilize the shell script, trade shell script that was provided by the author that will validate all the necessary steps. So I'm running the trade.sh generate-c trade channel. And the first thing, it's going to create the Genesis block. We're going to continue. And we have successfully instantiated our Hyperledger Fabric instance 1.4, and we're utilizing the trade channel repository for the book. And we're going to open up another terminal. Remember that we have to source the profile. and we can shut down the trade to complete this lab. So we can do trade.sh down. Remember to save this particular snapshot so that you can reopen your development environment for future labs. And we're going to do that with vagrant space snapshot space save and the name, which would be end of lab 01. And you will do this on your PowerShell command. You have successfully completed and deployed your Hyperledger Fabric development environment.